And then we have by the other side the uses of if I were you. We use this structure, if I were you, when you want to give an advice from the bottom of your heart. Maybe it's something that somebody asks you, or because you want to give it, but without anybody ask about it. So imagine that someone said, I'm too stressed, and also I tried this intensifier, because we have two intensifiers, so and two. We use intensify so when you want to express positive feeling. For example, I'm so happy. It's a positive thing, something that makes you smile, maybe. And you use the intensifier to in negative feelings. For example, stress. I'm too stressed. Stress, it's not a positive feeling or a positive mood. It's because you want to cry, So it's only to identify feelings or emotion or situations. But always so for positive things and two for negative things. I'm so stressed. For example. And now, returning to our previous topic, it said, if I were you, I would have a rest. In Spanish will be, si yo fuera tú, yo tomaría un descanso. So, it's a recommendation that this person didn't ask me to know about it. But I see that person that is crying, or he or she has that kind of emotion, and I only said, oh my gosh, if I were you, I have a break. No, I'd have a break, or I'd have a rest. They didn't ask me my opinion, but I give it. And this is an example that really is common as a student. And also, no, not also, especially when it's when teachers gives the average of a partial, or the partial's average, and it's common to hear this sentence: I don't agree with my final average. And maybe one of a classmate or one of our classmates said, if I were you, I would ask for explanation to the teacher. And in Spanish is like, no estoy de acuerdo con mi promedio final. Y alguien a quien no le preguntamos, pero está igual de inconforme o frustrado, dice, si yo fuera tú, le pediría una explicación al maestro. And it's as I swear, it's a common expression that it's common in exams time, and please don't use it. And well, it's important to mention that if you are going to use the structure of if I were you, it's a kind of conditional. And our complement, well, this is the first part. It exists a comma, and then we have the next part. The second part must start with a modal verb. Entonces, si se dan cuenta, tenemos aquí una estructura como condicional. En esta primera parte donde tenemos el if I were you, después viene la coma, y la siguiente parte tiene que estar fuerza, o sea, no es que ahorita lo quiero usar en presente y en pasado, no, sino que siempre, siempre, siempre nos va a exigir una estructura con un verbo modal. Y pues posterior del verbo modal viene nuestro verbo en forma infinitiva, y nuestro complemento. Entonces, esta siempre va a ser la estructura de if I were you. Ahora, al igual que las estructuras en condicional, si nosotros le queremos quitar esta coma, quedaría de la siguiente manera. Entonces, si no queremos usar la coma, entonces empezaríamos primero con nuestra segunda parte. Algo así como I would ask for explanation to the teacher if I were you. As you can perceive, I didn't write a comma. It's not necessary. If I start with the second part, if we only change the order of our structure, it is not necessary to add the comma. So we are only going to use it if we are going to start our sentence with if I were you. If you are going to start with a complement, I would ask for explanation, it is not necessary to add the comma. Entonces, podemos quitarle la coma si empezamos primero con nuestra condición o con la segunda parte. Algo así como, yo le pediría una explicación al teacher o al profesor si yo fuera tú. Si este if I were you lo mandamos ya hasta la siguiente parte de nuestra oración, ya no es necesario agregar la coma. Esto solamente funciona, bueno, en sí ustedes lo pueden adoptar como la manera que más les guste, como más se acomoden. Yo les recomiendo que siempre ocupen esta, if I were you, o sea, comenzando nuestra oración con la condición, con el if I were you, no con el complemento, porque no se oye tan bonito. Vámonos por ese parámetro, no se oye bonito. Entonces, si vamos a ocupar esta estructura, recuerden que siempre tenemos que poner un verbo modal. So, as you can perceive in this example, we have, oh my gosh, I feel sick. And the recommendation that somebody said is, if I were you, I would take an aspirin. If I want to change the modal verb, for example, it would be possible to change this would into should. Astora la exploradora, no. Because in this first part, you are giving an advice. So it's not necessary to give another advice. If you are going to use if I were, it is not correct to use should. So don't do it. The correct way will be like I would. No, would. What will be the meaning of would? Remember that would doesn't have a specific meaning. So in Spanish will be the suffix like ría. Tomaría, haría, me gustaría, etc. In this situation will be like tomaría. This suffix ría, it's in English would. Entonces, well, in English, if you have this complement, as I told you, it is not necessary to add any other modal verb like should. It could be could, yes. It could be might, yes. But in preference, use would. Only that. And we have the negative form. And I wouldn't drink anything cold. So this in Spanish, if drink is tomar and would is the suffix for ría, so in Spanish will be like tomaría. And plus a negative form. So it's like no tomaría nada frío. It's a recommendation. So, questions? I hope no. And now for questions. If we are going to use if I were as a question, is because you want to make a suggestion when we think that something is a good idea. Cuando tú crees profundamente que lo que estás diciendo puede ser una buena idea para llevarse a cabo, entonces ocupamos la estructura why don't you, que es esa misma estructura pero en pregunta. Entonces quedaría, por ejemplo, why don't you take an aspirin? En el ejemplo anterior teníamos el que se sentía mal y pues la recomendación fue de, y si fuera tú, no tomaría nada frío. Ahora, aquí está la otra parte. Ven que alguien está bien enfermo, que trae dolor de garganta y simplemente se acercan y dicen, oye, ¿y por qué no te tomas una aspirina? ¿O por qué no te vas a tu casa? So we use this expression with why don't you? So we have two ways to express the same idea. This is as a recommendation but without any question, like if I were you, I talk with the manager. Pero es como que malintencionado. Si fuera tú, yo hablaría con el jefe. But if you want to give a recommendation, it will be like, why don't you talk with the manager? Este no es tan agresivo, no es como para meter tanta cizaña, pero es la misma intención que esta de arriba. Y ya depende de la respuesta que te den. Puedes decir, yeah, I would like to talk with him because bla, 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 bla. Or, no, I won't. Pero siempre hay que tomar en cuenta la intención que lo quieres hacer. Este es como más de ya hazlo. Y este es de, pues, si quieres yo digo, ¿no? So I hope that with this explanation you understand the topic, and if you have any question, don't forget to mention it in our inbox. Thank you very much.